Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today we're going to be looking at a new offering from Olight. This is the Olight Fryer. Now this particular light is going to be geared towards law enforcement. It's going to debut tomorrow, December 13th, starting at 8 p.m., be available to the general public. It's going to be part of their Christmas flash sale. It also is going to come included in several different bundled packages as well. Now, again, this light is more geared towards law enforcement. It's going to have 7 different light output settings, with its max setting going to be 1750 lumen with 360 meters of throw. It also comes included with a proximity sensor for that high output. So in the event that you have an obstruction in front of the light, it's going to ramp down. Once the obstruction clears, it's going to ramp back up to that high setting. Now, it also comes with 3 colored LEDs. You get a red, a green, and a blue, as well as a traffic wand to go along with it. So those different light settings or those different colored LEDs are going to help aid officers in night vision, in investigation work, and obviously in traffic signaling. It also comes included with a very nice holster, a magnetic closure on that holster, as a matter of fact, and a 2-position pocket clip. And also is going to include their MCC 3 magnetic charging capability. Now, I've had a chance to use this light for about 4 or 5 days now. Olight provided me with this light, and I've been putting it up against other 21700 battery platform lights, and it has performed very well. Now, it's not going to have a lot of those mid-ranges that you're going to find in more of your EDC flashlight. Again, this is a law enforcement, more geared towards law enforcement as opposed to just the general public. I, however, am going to put this particular light in my roadside kit for my truck because I really like that signaling feature with the traffic wand that goes along with it. That's something that I can see that being very, very useful, especially when we're going down the road. We have something go wrong with the trailer to be able to signal traffic away from us. That's a feature that I really like about this light. Well, let's get into the Olight Fryer. The overall weight on this flashlight is going to be 6.7 ounces or 191 grams. That's going to be with the flashlight and the battery. Now, if you add on the holster and the silicone wand that come with this light, that's going to bring the weight up a little bit to 10.15 ounces or 281 grams. The overall length on this flashlight is 5 5/16 of an inch or 135 millimeters. The tail and the body section of the flashlight have a 1-inch diameter or 25.4 millimeters. And the head section is a little bit larger at 1 9/16. So it's going to be just shy of 40 millimeters. So it's going to be a little bit of a top-heavy flashlight. Now, it comes in an all aluminum alloy body. It's going to have a black anodized, hard anodized finish with it. And the strike bezel is going to be a blue anodized finish as well. This has some nicely milled heat dissipation fins up here. They're actually smoothed over very well. And Olight is kind of common for the grip pattern that they put on their flashlight. This one is a really comfortable flashlight to use, whether you are using it with a gloved hand or bare hand. You really do get a good purchase on it. Now, it's going to come with 2 switches as well. You get the side switch with the LED indicator, as well as the magnetic tactical tail switch. Now, out from the body, you get 3 little nubs here that protrude away from the switch that in theory allow this to tail stand. Now, I have my workbench below us, and it's metal workbench. So it's tail standing very nicely right now. But because this light is top heavy, it is not a very stable tail standable light. So unless you're on an extremely flat surface or a ferrous surface, it is going to tip over quite easily. Now, this comes with an IPX8 waterproof rating, and it comes with a 1.5 meter drop rating. It also has provisions on the flashlight for a lanyard right there, but a lanyard does not come included with this flashlight. Well, let's get into the light settings and the user interface of the Olight Fryer. I've installed the silicone wand back on this as we go through these 4 lower light settings. These are going to be our moonlight setting and the 3 colored LEDs. So those are accessible through the side switch. Now, to access the moonlight mode, which is 5 lumen, you'll just long press to get into it, and that will access your moonlight mode. Now, again, that's 5 lumen. It's going to have a 15-day runtime, and it's going to have 19 meters of throw on that setting. Then if we long press again, we're going to get into our first color mode. That's going to be our red. The red puts out 30 lumens of light output. It's going to have a 22-hour runtime and 12 meters of throw. And then if we long press again, that's going to get us to green. That's going to have a 60 lumen output. It's going to have a 14-hour runtime and it's going to have 19 meters of throw. And then the last of the three is going to be our blue setting. We'll long press to get into that one more time. That's going to be a 25 lumen output for 12 hours of overall runtime and 8 meters of throw. Now, if you click out of it, when we come back in and when we single click, it's going to go back into whatever one of those 4 settings we were last on. So right now ours was blue. If we cycle back through and we'll just put it on green, when we cut it off, we cut it back on with a single click. That's going to be our green light output. Now, I'll take off the silicone wand that comes with this to highlight the next couple of settings. So the next one is a direct to turbo setting. And to get to that, it's a quick double click. Now, there is a proximity sensor on here. So as it were to get obstructed, you can see that light will ramp down. And then as I remove my hand, it'll ramp right back up. So anytime that obstruction gets cleared from it, then it'll ramp right back to where it was before. Now that light output setting is 1750 lumens. Now that's going to give you a runtime of 2 minutes, and then it's going to ramp down to 850 lumens for an additional 2.5 hours of runtime. At that point, it's going to ramp down again to 300 lumens, and that is our low setting actually on this flashlight as well. And that's going to give you another 28 minutes of runtime. So the overall throw on that is 360 meters as well. Now, the next setting is available through the tail switch. Well, actually, there's one more. I apologize. You get to the strobe with a triple click in the side switch. So strobe warning for this one, 1, 2, 3, and we're in the strobe mode. And then the single click shuts it off. Now, on the tail switch, you can access 2 different settings. You can access your low mode and your high mode or your turbo mode. So the low mode is 300 lumens. It's going to give you 9.5 hours of runtime. That's going to be 150 meters of throw. Now you can access it one of 2 ways. You can either temporarily half press it, and that will get your 300 lumens, or you can quick half press it and release, and that will leave it on. And then you can half press and pull right back out of it. So it's both temporary and constant. And the same thing is true of your turbo mode or your high setting. A single click will leave it on at 1750 lumens, or you can temporary it in, and with a long press, as soon as you release, the light will go right back off. This also has a lockout feature. So if you're using it in a pocket with the included pocket clip, which is the 2-stage pocket clip that Olight's been sending with most everything that they're making these days, then you can just long press, it'll go to moonlight, and when the moonlight shuts off, now you'll be in lockout. So we can flip the switches and we get nothing. And to get out of it, you just long press to get back into moonlight, and away you go again. That is the user interface for the Fryer. Now the battery source for the Olight Fryer is going to be a 21700. It's going to be a 5000 milliamp, 3.6 volt 21700. And you know, this is one of the biggest knocks on Olight that I hear from people, is the fact that they use their batteries are optimized to work with their flashlights, and that's kind of what makes the magnetic charging capable. Now you can swap in certain aftermarket batteries, but you will lose the ability to magnetically charge the flashlight, which is one of the highlights of Olight. So if that's something that concerns you, that's something to be aware of. And then they have all the flashlights have some really nice threads on their caps too. So one thing I've noticed from Olight. And then you have the rubber O-ring seal there. So if we put that back together, show you the rest of what comes with this flashlight. Obviously you get the light and the battery included. You get an optional pocket clip. This is probably not a light that I would carry a pocket clip on though, because of its size. This is something that I genuinely feel would be a better for a holster carry. But you can clip it on, and it does clip on in 2 different directions. So we can pop it off and we can flip it around the other way. Oh, it's a little difficult to get off there. So the next thing that comes with it is a really nicely made holster. So this holster is a magnetic closure, and it actually is formed down here a little bit too. So what that allows it to do is you get the silicone wand that we talked about earlier. So when this wand is set in there and the flashlight just seats in there, you seat it, and it comes together, clasps together. And then when you're extracting it, well, I must have pushed it down a little too far that time. But what happens is the flashlight is able to come out separate of the wand, because that molding is really kind of holding that wand back. So you can pinch it, remove it, and it doesn't necessarily all come out together, because in the event that you need your flashlight in a hurry, the last thing you want is that wand coming out at the same time. Now, it's not a perfect solution, because sometimes the wand does extract with it. But if you have the pocket clip on it, and you're using the pocket clip with it, and you try to seat it, and to get it far enough down there where it'll close, because it's just barely to the point where it closed right now, every time you pull it out, that wand comes with it. So it's a little bit of a hassle if you're going to carry or use the pocket clip with it. That silicone traffic wand will tend to roll out with it. Now, one of the negatives that I found with this light, actually there's a couple. I really wish that there was a mid-range. They have that 300, and then it jumps to 1750 lumens. I would love to see this light with one more setting in between. So say in the 800 to 850 range. Now, what happens is when the light is in its turbo mode and it kicks down after 2 minutes, it's going to go into that 850 lumen range. I would prefer that you didn't necessarily have to jump up to the high setting, wait for the battery or the heat to build up, and then drop down into it. I wish there was one more range in between. So 300, 850, 1750, or 800, somewhere in that range, even 750. I wish there was a mid range to that. It does have the 5 lumen low mode, the 30 lumen or 300 lumen. I guess they consider that their low mode. So moonlight mode, low mode, and turbo or high. I just wish there was that extra setting. The other thing that I don't necessarily care about with this one is that there is no milling on here for anti-roll. So you can see this one's kind of just rolling all over the table. So in the event that you need to set your light down, if you have the clip on, it's no big deal. Hit the clip and it won't roll anymore. But I wish they would have added some flats in there to make it a little easier for it to set down and not just roll all over the place. Apart from that, I like this flashlight. The tail switch is a little bit better on this one than what it was on the M2R Warrior Pro. I felt like it was a little fatiguing on the back tail switch of that flashlight. This one, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to have or take quite as much pressure to hold it in its temporary mode. So maybe they're improving upon it. I don't know. Maybe they've lightened the spring on that switch. But at any rate, this is a pretty nice flashlight. Now, I'm not in law enforcement, so this is not something that I desperately needed. But like I said, I'm going to be putting this in my roadside kit for my truck. And I think the ability to signal, especially with the traffic wand, I like that feature. If we ever break down the road, you know, you never know when you might need to direct traffic away from you. It's just a feature that I like, and I think this is going to be a good flashlight for that purpose. At any rate, this has been the Olight Friar. It's going to be released tomorrow, starting at 8 p.m. You can pick this up. I believe this is going to run just a touch over $90. It's going to be 30% off to $90. It's also going to come in with a couple of bundle options too. So if there's some other flashlights that you might be looking at, I think it's going to be included in 2 or 3 different bundles. So something to check out. I'm going to have the affiliate link below for you to check out. There's also going to be a coupon code. So if you miss the flash sale and you still want to get this flashlight or any other flashlight, if you go through that link, TX Tool, I'm sorry, that will give you an additional 10% off of any Olight. My name's Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.